Out in the desert, Farmer Boy Luke is out to buy some fresh new toys with his uncle. He decided to buy a golden toy, as he thought it looked hella fresh. One of the other toys he bought breaks down right after he bought it. So, after citing the Consumer Protection Act, the sales dudes decided to give him another one for free. Farmer Boy starts tidying up his new toys, but clumsily pulls too hard, and the +1 toy starts playing a potato-quality video. The girl in the video keeps saying, "Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi. You're my only hope." Farmer Boy Luke thinks the girl is really beautiful. The +1 toy convinces Farmer Boy to remove the bolt that restricts him from leaving the farm. Later that night, Farmer Boy tries to convince his uncle and aunt to let him go to university. His uncle says that he needs him at the farm for the next harvest season. Also, he is worried that Farmer Boy will spend all his time hanging out at frat parties if he leaves. Farmer Boy gets upset and leaves to continue to clean up the toys, but finds out that one of the toys has escaped. It's too dark to go out looking for it right away. The next morning he leaves to track it down, but gets attacked. Some old dude shows up and scares the attackers away. It turns out that the old dude is actually Obi-Wan Kenobi, who the droid was looking for. He says he has not heard that name in a long time. Now they have to leave before the attackers come back. They take the damaged golden toy and take it back to the old dude's crib. It turns out the old dude has a present for Farmer Boy, a dangerous laser sword. Perhaps not the best present for a clumsy farm boy, but nonetheless. They play the video of the girl for the old dude. The girl has apparently been taken hostage. It also becomes apparent that the toys were not two random toys walking about. They had been on a spaceship that was attacked by snow camouflage men led by the evil Darth Vader. The toys had narrowly escaped the attack, and the girl had put the message for the old dude in one of the toys. Darth Vader and his colleagues searched the ship and managed to capture the girl. Luckily, the two toys managed to escape in a pod and were not shot down by the ship, due to there being no life on board the pod. Darth Vader interrogated the girl and realized that she must have hidden some important documents in the pod. They initiate a search for the toys. The toys had been walking around in the desert for hours when they were attacked by the tiny hooded dudes. That was how they ended up being sold to Farmer Boy. Meanwhile, on the evil ship, the leaders are discussing politics, when Darth Vader walks in explaining that the galaxy will now be run by the same principles as Middle Age Europe. Obi-Wan Kenobi tries to convince Farmer Boy to come with him and leave the planet, but Farmer Boy says that he is still a farmer in his core. But when they go out, they realize that the tiny merchants have been attacked. Farmer Boy realizes that his beloved family is in danger and hurries to warn them, but sees that his family, everyone he's ever loved, are now gone. After being sad for about 10 seconds, he tells the old dude that he will come with him. They get stopped by some troops, but the old dude waves his hand, and surprisingly, they let them go through. Farmer Boy says that he needs a drink, and the gang goes to the closest bar. The old dude starts negotiating hiring a ship, but of course, Farmer Boy can't stay out of trouble and offends one of the guests. Luckily, the old dude cuts of the guest's arm, and nobody really cares. The old dude drives a hard bargain and convinces young handsome guy Han Solo and his pet Chewbacca to take them on their ship. After they leave, a talking fly comes talking to Han Solo. It turns out he has a price on his head. Han Solo feels threatened, shoots the fly, and leaves the bar. Now, everyone is in danger. Han Solo meets up with the guy that put a price on his head, a large snail called Jabba. Han promises that he will pay his debts on time. The gang meets up with Han at the ship. Farmer Boy immediately complains about the ship, even though he's never been on a spaceship before. Some evil dudes comes up and starts shooting at the ship, but they manage to escape. The ship goes into light speed, and they are now safe. Meanwhile, the evil politicians wants to show off their new giant toy gun and threatens the girl that they will blow up her home planet if she doesn't tell them where the rebel base is. She tells them, but they blow up the planet anyways. The old dude flexes his powers to Han Solo and says that he feels something disturbing has happened. But Farmer Boy Luke doesn't care about that. He is busy playing with his new light sword. The old dude thinks that Farmer Boy is a bit too arrogant and challenges him to play with a helmet blocking his eyesight. Farmer Boy fails the challenge and gets hit by one of the toys. The gang gets out of light speed, only to find that the planet they were going to isn't there. They see a large object in the distance, which Farmer Boy thinks is a moon, but everyone else realizes it's a spaceship. The spaceship pulls them in, and there is nothing they can do about it. The evil soldiers starts going through the ship, but the gang have hidden under the floor in the ship. They fight two of the soldiers and steal their equipment and decides to go to the control room in order to enable the ship to leave. It turns out they cannot do it in the control room, so the old dude leaves to save the situation. He is very explicit in that Farmer Boy cannot join him. When the remaining gang is stuck in the control room, they realize that the beautiful girl is actually a prisoner on the spaceship. Farmer Boy convinces Han Solo that he will get stash full of cash if he helps saving her, as she is a princess. They pretend that Han Solo's pet Chewbacca is a prisoner that needs to be taken to his cell. They get to another control room, but can't manage to convince the folks there of their identity, so in order to get out the situation, they decide to start shooting them. More troops will come soon, so they need to get going. The princess' cell is close by, so Farmer Boy goes to unlock her cell. He hopes that if he sees her first, he will be able to call dibs. Now, more evil troops shows up and starts shooting at them. They are in a hopeless situation, but the princess thinks on her feet and shoots a hole in the wall. The gang jumps in the hole and feels that they have saved the situation. It turns out they jumped into the ship's garbage can. The oblivious Farmer Boy gets dragged underwater by an animal, but gets saved by the gang. Now, another problem becomes apparent as the walls starts closing in on them. The situation seems hopeless, but they get saved by Farmer Boy's toys, who manages to stop the walls from moving. Meanwhile, the old dude has sneaked away to turn off the power of the station. The gang start cleaning themselves up, but soon runs into a full squad of evil troops. In order to save the situation, Farmer Boy needs to swing over a large gap. The princess gives him a kiss on the cheek, even though he was recently drained in sewage. Even though Farmer Boy is now safe, the old dude finds himself in trouble. He has met up with evil Darth Vader, who turns out is an old pal of his. They starts fighting through crossing swords, but as it turns out, the old dude has one final trick up his sleeve. He lets Darth Vader's sword penetrate through him, as he disappears and vanishes into nothing. Farmer Boy screams loudly when he sees this, so the evil troops start shooting at him. But the gang manages to escape, but soon realizes that they are being followed by some spaceships. Luke manages to shoot down one ship from close range, while the princess and Han Solo's pet manage to take down the other one. This time, Farmer Boy is sad for about 15 seconds that the old dude has left them, but again soon forgets all about it. The gang decides to go to the rebel base, where they take part of the plans to take down the space station. Farmer Boy boasts that he could easily hit the small hole required to blow up the space station, even though he has never flown a ship before. Han Solo leaves, as he prioritizes to pay his debts, rather than going on a suicide mission. This greatly upsets Farmer Boy. He gets everything ready to leave the base together with the other pilots. The replacement toy he received in the beginning of the movie comes with him, as it has proven to be quite useful. The pilots now flies away from the rebel base in order to attack the station. Farmer Boy has the code name Red 5, which he thinks is really cool, although he would prefer to be Red 1. The pilots start shooting at the station, but the station's guns are shooting back at them. There are also evil pilots in space shooting at them. It's really a big mess. Meanwhile, in the safety of the control room, the princess is following the operation closely. It is now time for the pilots to go into the trenches of the station in order to shoot some lasers through the small hole. Darth Vader has also jumped into his own spaceship and starts shooting at the rebels like a total boss. One after another, the rebel ships get shot down. One of the pilots misses the tiny hole, but manages to make some damage to the ship. Farmer Boy thinks that if it was him, he would easily hit it. After all, he is the Steph Curry of shooting spaceships. Soon, there is only our young hero, the Farmer Boy, left. He is being chased closely by Darth Vader. As he approaches the tiny gap he needs to shoot through, he starts hearing voices of the old dude Obi-Wan, telling him to remove his virtual headset and trust his feelings. He manages to hit the shot, just before the space station is about to destroy the rebels' planet. He almost gets shot down by Darth Vader, but Han Solo has come back to save his butt. Farmer Boy and Han Solo get celebrated as heroes, and that is the end of the movie. Overall, I would give it a rating of 9.7. The end.